It's time for the Prete Is On with Dave Prete here on 92.1 The Team, WCKR Hornell. Here's Dave Prete.
Hey, welcome to the show, everyone. Happy Easter weekend. We are finishing up week 4 of what I call the coronavirus lockdown, but I am doing my part in social distancing. I'm broadcasting this show remotely from home. I do want to welcome, as usual, the man in the studio, the man behind the glass, Brian O'Neill. Brian, happy Easter.
Hello there. Happy Easter to you.
So, Brian, to start the show, I want to go off course just a little bit. You know, normally we talk about just sports on this show, mainly local sports, but I want to talk about a topic that's obviously impacting everyone's lives, locally, across the nation, worldwide, and that, of course, is the coronavirus. And here are some numbers. Before I introduce our next guest, I want to go over some numbers that are staggering to me, considering that these numbers have only been recorded really over the past month. Worldwide, the number of confirmed cases of coronavirus, 1,630,000, and I'm sure that that's rising as of the time of this broadcast. In the United States, over 477,000 confirmed cases of coronavirus. In New York State alone, 160,000 plus. And then in Steuben County, we're up over 90 confirmed cases. And then in Hornell, which they're calling the epicenter of Steuben County for the number of cases, it's about half of the confirmed cases for Steuben County, so close to 50. And the number of deaths worldwide from coronavirus, as of the time of the show, has surpassed 100,000. So staggering numbers. I do want to talk about the local impact of the coronavirus, and I have on our studio line not only a friend of mine, but a very well-respected medical professional here in the Hornell community, Dr. Ismail Mayer. Dr. Mayer, thanks for joining the show and coming on to take the time to talk about what's going on here locally.
No worries. Thank you so much, David and Brian, for having me. And, I like to say I know it's a sports show, but I think this is something a little bit more important than sports right now. With that said, being a local coach as well, I know the impact it's having on sports and on our student athletes, and we can talk about that later. But first and foremost, I think, you started out right, David, with the social distancing. That's the only medicine we have right now to help cure this, and I think people need to understand that. I know we're itching to get back to normal and open things up, but right now the numbers are just not there. I believe the White House task force this morning even said that don't expect us to open up on May 1st, maybe some places, but we had hoped that maybe May 1st would be a date, but right now we need to get control of this virus, and I think the important thing that people need to understand is it's a lot of comparisons to other illnesses that cause death and other illnesses that are respiratory-borne and whatnot. The problem is most of those other illnesses aren't contagious, and something like the flu, which is, the transmission is much, much less than this virus. This transmits so fast. Take a look at our own community. 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, there was very limited cases in Hornell. There was 0. And now look at it, we're, I think, over 70 just in the immediate Hornell area, which is Hornell, Hornellsville. I throw in Cansteo and Arkport into that, and North Hornell, of course. So it moves really, really fast once it starts getting transmitted. And the only way we slow that down is social distancing, which unfortunately means this sort of shelter in place that we're all doing.
Now, I'm going to go on my high horse just for a minute, because this is something that really bothers me in regards to what you just said, Dr. Mayer. And there was a case locally, I believe last week, where a person was a confirmed case of coronavirus. The person was only hours or maybe a day or two into the quarantine process, and then that person went out into the community, into a local business, to pick up some food, which, by the way, the place offered delivery service, and then put that many more people, the workers and the other people that happened to possibly be in that business at the time, all of them are exposed to it, and their health is then put in jeopardy. Why are people not taking this as seriously? I've heard people say, well, this many people get the flu every year. This many people die from the flu. And that may be true, but the flu spreads over, 6 or 7 months. This is something that's only been, as you said, for like 3 weeks, 3 to 4 weeks.
Right, and I think that's really important. And I really don't know what that individual was thinking, or any of the individuals that sort of feel like they're not following the social distancing. I think some people just think that it's not going to happen to them, or it's not going to be that bad, or that they're, again, I think it's getting better, and I hope it's getting better. I applaud the county for putting in some stricter guidelines and regulations, and I'm applauding the local larger businesses as Walmart and others are sort of monitoring large groups not coming in together. But going back to your point, I think, there has been a lot of references to this is not, so many people die from the flu and so many die from that. You're absolutely right. Some of the numbers, right now that we have in states, they're comparable or maybe less than when you take all the totality of all those other illnesses. But what people don't understand is this happens within 2 weeks. This disease is a 2-week process typically, and there's a reason New York City they're doing mass burials. Who would have ever thought in this country, in the United States of America, they would be doing mass burials? That's how fast the bodies are piling up. And I think that's what people have to understand is if you're looking at the death rate and the number of dead, okay, I still don't think you have an argument because you have to look at it in totality, but then look at the time frame. People don't die that fast of the other illnesses and things that they're mentioning, and that's why your hospital systems are maxed out in the major metropolitan areas. And something that people don't realize is that you have all these people on the ventilators for COVID right now in our major cities. What about the person who has a heart attack? What about the person who has cancer and needs to be on a ventilator to get through for some time? They're probably not going to get it now. If you need to have emergency heart surgery and you need to be on the ventilator after surgery, there's no ventilators available for you. Now, of course, those people aren't dying due to COVID, but indirectly they may not survive because the hospital system is over capacity. Because I've seen the arguments, that not everyone's dying just of COVID. They have other comorbidities, and that's probably the cause of it. It's the COVID that's led to the comorbidities to cause them to succumb. When you have heart disease and you have an aggressive virus that causes you to be on mechanical ventilation, your heart, if it's already compromised, is not going to be able to stand through it. So I think really what people need to understand is the progression of it. And again, 80% of people are going to do really well, so it's not all doom or gloom. But the 20% who don't do well, they progress super fast. I've seen it right here in our own hospital. People have come in, walking and talking on their cell phone, have some symptoms, have indications to be hospitalized, and 6-7 hours later, I was rushing in to place breathing tubes and lines in their major jugular veins to help save their life, and then we got them to up to the University of Rochester, where right now all the COVID patients on ventilators are going for our area. So it moves really fast. So the comparison to other diseases is not fair because you don't die within 2 weeks of all those things, and you don't die from respiratory failure like that and requiring ICUs, and that's why systems are overwhelmed across this. I don't think anyone denies that. The New York City, New Orleans, Chicago, Detroit, the hospitals are overwhelmed right now.
Yeah. So we're talking with Dr. Ismail Mayer from the University of Rochester, St. James Hospital, and 4+, actually, I think it's more than that, but at least 4 deaths, confirmed deaths that I know have been reported at our local nursing homes. That's another challenge in the skilled nursing facilities because they lack some of the supplies. I know there's been some news here locally with one of our local nursing homes where the nurses feel that they're not well equipped to deal with COVID. What is your message, or how can we help those places in responding to those who are confirmed COVID cases? Because those are the ones that are mostly at risk, are your elderly and those who have existing health conditions.
Yes, no, absolutely, you're right in that. But I think in the United States in general, that is a true statement, but it's not like Italy was, where Italy was almost exclusively elderly. It is younger patients. I think 40% of the 40% of COVID patients that were hospitalized a week ago, now again the data might have changed, a week ago were between the ages of 20 and 54. So just because you and I fall in that age range and we're pretty healthy doesn't mean we're excluded and we can't get super sick. Again, the chances are slight, but in the United States that number of younger patients has increased, and that could be due to maybe mutation of the virus. It could be different strains. There's a lot of theories behind it. So let's completely. I don't want the younger people and your listeners to be like, oh well, I'm not going to get hit by it. It's in the United States that is happening. I don't have much comment about the nursing homes and whatnot. I'm not physically there. I don't work in those places. I don't know what's going on. I think from a community standpoint, I know people are hoping and wanting to help them, and I think that's great. I think the best way is to reach out to those nursing homes directly and people who work there and see what they need and how they can be helped. I know that St. James and University of Rochester has helped them significantly. I know St. James provided the testing kits and a few hundred, I believe, to them. Maybe it was 100 or 100 plus, so that they could start testing everyone at the nursing homes that are here in our area. This is something that St. James and the University of Rochester, felt compelled to do out of community service, and that's something they had to do. I think that's very important to understand and applaud. St. James, our community hospital, that said, hey, let's help you guys get everyone tested and know what's going on if you don't have that ability. So we are helping them, but in terms of all the details, I'm not privileged to it, and I don't know, so I don't. It wouldn't be fair for me to comment.
Okay, so one final question, Dr. Mayer, and again, thanks for joining us today to talk about the local impact of coronavirus. From a sports perspective, what do you see happening with sports programs, both youth, high school is, at this point, I want to say is probably a lost cause, because by the time, or if the kids even do go back, the seasons will pretty much be wrapping up, as will the school year. But for local youth sports and even professional sports, what's your prediction? Do you think that?
Yeah. Yeah, sorry. I don't know from the professional standpoint. I'll watch professional sports here and there, but I'm not that crazy about them like I used to be when you and I were younger. Youth and local sports, it's a big part of my life, being an assistant football coach on the varsity level. I think it'll come back, but only when it's safe for everyone for it to come back. And I think there's no, sports is an important part of life. It's an important part of our local community to have the little leagues and have the softball leagues and summer soccers and whatnot. But I think it's only going to come back when it's safe to come back, and that the mitigation of the spread has taken place. And that's really hard to predict. I think some of the models are saying possibly mid-May we could start opening some things back up. I hope and pray. I'd love to see that we could get our varsity athletes to maybe have a few games, be it symbolic, late May, early June even, be it symbolic, but, for those seniors, you and I were once in that position, and you know how much that senior year means to you, and it is a loss for them. But I'd love to see that there at least is some symbolic ability to play a few games. A shortened schedule possibly. At the end of May, a few games. But it's very hard to predict. This thing is a moving target. The numbers keep changing. The projections are a bit better, but they're only better because of the social distancing, because we're doing our job. And I think that's what I fear, is that people see some of the numbers and projections from Dr. Fauci and Dr. Birx at the task force, saying they're getting better, that we let our guard down. If we let our guard down, we're going to go back. And that's happening in South Korea and Singapore. And I use those examples as two countries where they did some great social distancing. They really did a great job. Internationally probably did the best jobs, initially, but then they are having some recurrence now because, they might have let their guard down too soon. But coming back to sports, it's got to be safe for the players. It's got to be safe for the student athletes. It's got to be safe for the spectators. And, I think the local youth seasons, they could always be over through the summer too, right? We could do Little League. We could start later. Let's say, maybe we start Little League at June and it does go through summer vacation. At least those kids get to play and we can make accommodations, I feel more so for right now for our varsity athletes. Our seniors playing softball, track and field, tennis, golf. All the spring sports. So fingers crossed that maybe they can get some games in late May or in early June. But only time will tell.
Yeah, and the senior prom too. I know that's a big, huge event for all seniors or most seniors, and that may be something that have to be put on hold. And who knows what's going to happen with graduation as well. But
Right. I will say this. You and I and Brian, we've grown up in this community. We have an amazing community. We have an amazing, I think, people on our school board, and I'm sure they're going to keep all this in mind. And it may not happen when it's supposed to happen, but I wouldn't be surprised that all these things, such as proms and graduation and all that stuff, it'll happen for these kids at some point. It might be later, might be even after graduation, but I'm sure the community will rally together for them. And I'd like to say, Friday night at the hospital, we had a tremendous turnout for what they called Friday Night Lights. Being a football town, so many people showed up to support the hospital and be there. So we live in an amazing community, and we just got to continue sticking together.
Hornell strong. Dr. Mayer, thank you for your time. Great information.
Thank you, guys.
We really appreciate it. Thanks for all you do, and don't be a stranger to come back on the show.
No, thank you, guys, and stay safe, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Doctor.
Bye.
We'll be back on the show with Paul Welker, General Manager of the Hornell Dodgers, after this break.
This local sports show here on 92.1 The Team is brought to you in part by Rhonda Wilsey. Spring is here. Now's the time to buy or sell your home. When choosing a local real estate agent, choose someone with 2 decades of experience. Rhonda Wilsey has been helping people like you find their new home for over 18 years. Call Rhonda Wilsey at 607-382-4539 or email Rhonda at rhondawilsey@howardhanna.com.
Do you lead an active lifestyle? Are you trying to reach that next level in your fitness or active lifestyle? Stop into Next Level Wellness in Hornell. Next Level Wellness offers CBD options that help promote muscle recovery and regrowth. Their CBD products are the perfect addition to pre- and post-workouts. CBD helps reduce inflammation, allowing you to recover faster from workouts. If you're ready to step up your training or take your game to the next level, then stop into Next Level Wellness or shop online at nxlevelwellness.com. Next Level Wellness, 10 Seneca Street, Hornell, or call 607-385-3188 for more info.
The service department at Maple City Dodge is open. Automotive service work is essential work, and Maple City Dodge is able to assist. They're asking customers to allow them to work with minimal contact, so they'll happily pick up, sanitize, and return your vehicle. The sales department is also available. You can talk to one of their sales guys. They're working from home and making great deals. To set an appointment with service or sales, call Maple City Dodge or reach out to them through Facebook Messenger. Maple City Dodge in Hornell, proud to be serving you.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Prete Is On 92.1 The Team. This is your host, Dave Prete, and once again, a big thank you to Dr. Ismail Mayer for joining us in our first segment of the show to talk about the impact of coronavirus here locally. I want to move on to our next caller, who's actually doing his part also by social distancing, by calling in remotely on our Empire Access studio line. I want to welcome the Sports Information Director from Alfred State College, the General Manager for the Hornell Dodgers, Paul Welker. Paul, welcome back to the show.
Hey, Dave. Thanks for having me. It's good to be on.
Paul, last time we talked to you, which was just before, I want to say days before all the coronavirus stuff went down, you were in Florida with the Alfred State College women's softball team at a tournament, and here we are, a month later, 4 weeks later, and now there's... Yeah, just about a month, yep. And now there's no college sports. There's no college, period. Kids are doing other classes online. And just last week, you announced that there would also not be a season this year, a 2020 season for the Hornell Dodgers. How difficult of a decision was that for you to make, and what drove your decision to forego the Dodger season this year?
It was probably one of the harder decisions I've ever been involved with. When I moved to Hornell 19 years ago, The only thing I really knew about Hornell was baseball because I played in the New York Collegiate Baseball League, and then I knew about Wegmans. So it was a difficult decision, but our board thinks it's the right decision. Financially, we run our organization very close, as financially or fiscally responsible as possible. Taking the risk of ordering all the stuff we had to order was very, very a huge risk. And then even other risk like we rely on host families, people to open their homes, and that's not necessarily an easy thing to do with this with the current situation, health situation. So we made the decision before others in the league. So it was a tough decision, but I think it's the right decision, and we're already looking forward to 2021.
Well, and that was my next question. This is just a decision for this year. This isn't a long-term decision. The Dodgers will be back next season. I know you and I have talked about that off the air, and this is a team that, as you said, it's been part of this community since 1995, 1993, 1994. I was close. Thanks. That was actually the year Tim Hudson played here in Hornell. So this will be the first summer with no Dodgers baseball. But, in the bigger picture, I understand the decision, and I think everybody else in the community does with everything going on. So how can our community support the Dodgers even though they're not going to be playing this year? Because I know the team is driven by community support, and most of your funding or all of your funding comes through community support, fundraising, and things like that. So what can we do as fans and supporters of the Dodgers? What can we do here in this off season to help maintain some of that financial viability for the team?
The Dodgers aren't going away. So, as soon as we have the ability to be part of community events or plan some of our own events, right now it's hard to plan anything. But we want to be part. We want to partner with other community groups when the social distancing and some of the other things we're doing now are done. But we need to raise some money, raise some funds, because one of the major issues was that we still had debt from last year that we need to alleviate before we play another year as well. So we'll be in the news. We plan on being an active member of the community once people can be more active again.
Okay, great. Now, Alfred State College is your other, we'll call it your full-time job. Yeah, your real job. And you're the sports information director there, so obviously you have your hands in all of these sports programs all year round. What's it like not having any sports at Alfred State right now? What's it like for the athletes? And I know not only the athletes, they're students as well. So, they're playing their part. They're wearing both hats, as athletes and students. But especially for those who, this is their last year. I know we talked last week or a couple weeks ago on the show with Chris Kohler, the athletic director at Canisteo Greenwood, about some of the seniors who, they're losing their last season of sports as high school athletes. What's it like for the college athletes who this might be their last season, and now it's going to be done, because I don't think they're going back to college between now and the time when it was supposed to end?
No, you're right, and it's not much different than a high school senior. The only difference is a high school senior that athlete might have the chance to play in college. Luckily, NCAA at the Division III level has granted all the spring athletes another year, and we have some athletes that are, academically, they're in a position that they can take advantage of that. Others have decided to move on and continue into their career or grad school or something like that. One of the things I've been working on for the last 3 weeks or so is on our social media. We've been honoring all these athletes that had their seasons cut short. And then even this coming week, it's it's actually National NCAA Division week, and we'll be showcasing some of the accomplishments of our athletes, and also some of our former athletes that have some neat stories coming out next week that people should be on the lookout from the newspaper and in Alfred State Athletics social media accounts.
Okay, great. That's great. And any kind of recognition these students and these athletes can get, even though they're not playing right now, due to coronavirus restrictions, it's just wonderful. I mean, these guys and ladies, they work hard all year round, and I know that about the time this went down, they were really getting geared up for the spring season, so they have to be very disappointed. So any recognition they get is awesome. So, Paul, the last question I want to ask you, you're a huge baseball fan, as am I. You've actually co-hosted this show before, and we've talked a lot about baseball. How do you feel about some of the proposals with Major League Baseball playing games in Arizona, potentially breaking the divisions or not breaking the divisions down, I should say, into National League or American League, just having, two divisions where, they randomly pick teams to play in each division. Are they going to have a season? And what do you think of a shortened season? I mean, it's going to be different, obviously, than a normal MLB season, but to me, some baseball is better than no baseball.
And I agree with that. And and it's hard to even have a prediction of what could happen because it changes every day. And I'm a pretty avid runner, and I listen to ESPN radio when I run, and it's always interesting because each day something different or another proposal or someone telling you it's going to happen this way or that. I think if they could do like the latest proposal playing in their home spring training complexes is kind of because it creates different matchups or different rivalries. Like I saw, as being an Orioles fan, they would be in with the Twins and the Red Sox, I believe. So it's interesting. I don't think it has the answer of when you're going to allow crowds, and that's going to be the hard part of any organization trying to be responsible health issues and also be able to be responsible for having events without people there. So it's definitely it's going to be a interesting couple months. Somebody's going to end up having a grad school program or a thesis all about this, the impact of COVID-19 on sports and breaking in professional and college sports.
Yeah, it's definitely an interesting time, and for everybody, sports-wise and in every aspect of life, and we're all just hoping and praying it can get back to normal, as soon as possible. So, Paul, thanks for joining the show. You're always welcome. You're a regular, and if and when hopefully things get running again, we'll have you back on, and we'll talk some MLB baseball if and when there's a season.
Anytime. And if people want to follow the Cornell Dodgers, we have a Facebook page and a Twitter account. And then at Alfred State, all our social accounts are at ASC Athletics. So we're trying to pump some interesting information on both of those social media sites. So appreciate anyone taking a look at it.
All right. Thanks for that information, Paul. Once again, thanks for coming on the show. We appreciate it. And we appreciate all you do with the Hornell Dodgers. And we'll be back after the break with the women's head coach from Pitt Bradford, Melissa Graham, when we come back.
Air vents, aluminum and vinyl. Give your home a look that's new.
Maybe this is the year you're thinking about investing in your home with new siding, energy-efficient windows and doors, a wonderful 3 or 4 season sunroom, a long-lasting deck or retractable awning. Where should you go? AirVent Aluminum and Vinyl on Main Street in Arkport, of course. They carry the highest quality products and are the experts in installation. Tracy and all the staff at AirVent Aluminum pride themselves in their expert installation because no matter how high the quality of the products, without perfect installation, you could be throwing away your money. Invest in quality products and expert installation when you buy from AirVent Aluminum. Call now to be put on their spring schedule. AirVent Aluminum on Main Street in Arkport for quality windows, doors, siding, siding, decking, sunrooms, and awnings, and always expert installation. See their website, airventaloom.com. Open Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. till 4 p.m. or Saturdays by appointment. Call 607-295-7773.
The impact of COVID-19 continues to affect every company in unprecedented ways. But now there's a plan to help you and your business get back on your feet. Hi, I'm Jason Bailey, president and founder of Sun Broadcast Group, a national radio syndicator who works with this local station.
And I'm Jeff James, founder of Vista 14 and 20-plus year marketing veteran. Together, we're committing up to $200,000 to support fellow entrepreneurs and business owners just like you with the Brand Impossible Marketing Makeover.
Visit brandimpossible.com to be entered to win a $50,000 comprehensive marketing makeover by our award-winning design and interactive marketing teams. Brand identity, marketing and collateral design, public relations, social media support, and much more.
Visit brandimpossible.com and complete a quick survey for your chance to win.
Getting back to business can seem overwhelming at such a fragile time. But when the time does come to open those doors again, we'll be right there by your side to help you through.
And welcome back to the Prete Is On 92.1 The Team. This is your host, Dave Prete, and I have on the Empire Access studio line, of course, doing her part in social distancing as well as have the other guests that have already been on the show. I have Melissa Graham, the head coach of the Pitt Bradford Lady Panthers soccer team. Melissa, welcome to the show.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming on. And now you have some local history. You grew up in the Wayland area. You played high school, went to high school and played high school sports and soccer at Naples. Went to college at Houghton College where you were a standout soccer player there. Upon graduation, you then went and coached the varsity program for the girls at Avoca Central School. And now you're going into your fourth season as head coach of the Lady Panthers at Pitt Bradford. Explain the evolution of how you got to be where you're at right now for me.
Yeah, so it's been a pretty cool experience. Right out of college, I was asked to come back to the area. My folks are from Cohocton, New York, so come back to the area and coach at Avoca High School. So I coached 2 seasons there, and then actually I headed back to my alma mater, Houghton College, because my head coach had reached out and asked if I would come back and be the assistant. So I went back there to be the assistant for a year, had a great experience, and they knew I wanted to continue coaching. So he actually had kind of reached out to me and said, hey, look, Pitt Bradford is looking for a head women's coach. So I applied and went and interviewed there and made some really great connections and great relationships during my time there, and ended up getting offered the job a few weeks later. But it was a crazy transition because by the time I actually started there, I had 4 days before preseason started for my first season. So kind of a crazy transition, but it's been really good, and it's been super enjoyable so far.
Now, Pitt Bradford is a Division III school, 4-year program, correct? So tell me, who are some of the teams that are in your conference, some of the regular opponents, who's your rivals that you play? Because I know that, Bradford's not all that far away from the Hornell area, about, an hour and a half, 2 hours. But it's also one of those programs that I don't think people have a lot of familiarity with up this way.
Yeah, so we're only about an hour from Hornell, so it's really not far at all. But like you said, I feel like a lot of people don't really realize it's that close because it is Pennsylvania, and I feel like a lot of people don't even know about Pitt Bradford actually. But yeah, we're a Division III school. We play in the AMCC, the Allegheny Mountain Collegiate Conference. So we do play a few schools down in the Pittsburgh area. Our most recent member to join is actually Alfred State College. So we play a lot pretty local for our non-conference. We play Houghton every year. We play Alfred University usually. We play Alfred State every year because they're in our conference now. And then we also have a few teams in the Buffalo area that are in our conference, such as Medaille College and Hilbert College. Deauville College was in our conference. So we do play a decent amount in New York. And personally, since I think I know it pretty well and know some coaches and know the level of play, I do a lot of my recruiting also in New York.
And that was going to be actually my next question is, what amount of recruiting do you do up this way? I know you have connections from being local and coaching in Avoca. What percentage of your players would you say come from this area up here? And how easy is it for you to sell the program to them?
So I do have a decent amount of players but on my current roster and my incoming freshman class for next year that are from New York and from specifically like the Steuben County area, Section 5 area. So a big selling point for everybody in like Section 5 is we do offer it's called Go Beyond in New York State. It's a big scholarship where those student athletes or students in general, I apologize, that live in the specific counties, and that's everybody in Section 5, they can come to Pitt Bradford and pay in-state tuition. So that's been a huge draw. It's newer since I've been here, but that's been a huge draw to kind of help students because we are so close. We're 10 minutes from the New York border. So that's a good huge factor for me because, like I said, I do have that familiarity with Section 5, playing in Section 5, coaching in Section 5, knowing a lot of coaches in Section 5, and I know the talent there. So for me, I'm all about it. I would say during the fall, during our season, almost all of my weekday recruiting is done in New York. I go to different school games in New York all the time during the season. I really, in the off season, big showcase tournaments, I go to a lot in New York, in the Rochester area and stuff like that. So I do recruit a lot in New York. And, I'm trying to kind of build on that and get more of a group from New York.
Now you mentioned you played at Houghton College, and you mentioned earlier that Houghton is in your conference. You do play them. What's it like to play your alma mater? I mean, because you were part of that team for 4 years. Is it kind of bittersweet if you beat them, or is there a small part of you even that's like, hey, I wouldn't be that upset if Houghton won, or is it are you out to beat them? You want to show your alma mater that your team is better, that you're a great coach, and take no prisoners.
Yeah, so they're not actually in our conference. We just play them every year, so that's a plus because for me it is one of those kind of bittersweet things. The first 2 years that I was coaching, my head coach was still the head coach there. So for me, it was easier to swallow that loss, but at the same time, I obviously still wanted to beat my coach. Unfortunately, he left, so now that there is a new coach, I still have ties to the program, obviously, but there's no reason for me to not try to beat them every year.
But if it was your old coach, you'd want to beat him a little bit, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so final question, and again, this is Melissa Graham, head coach for the Lady Panthers at Pitt Bradford, and local product who grew up in this area, formerly the head coach at Avoca Central School. What impact, if any, has the coronavirus had on your soccer program or your ability to do any recruiting? Because pretty much, everything is shut down right now, including all the colleges. So has there been any impact or immediate impact on your program specifically?
Yeah, for sure. We were supposed to. So everything kind of started to shut down and school started to go online while we were on our spring break. And when we came back from spring break, we were supposed to start our non-traditional season. So unfortunately, we didn't get to have a non-traditional season this year. Recruiting-wise, obviously every other coach is in the same position, so it doesn't put me really behind other schools. And thankfully, I had 9 out of my 10 commits that I wanted for 2020 already committed. So I didn't really lose too much with 2020 recruits, but I think moving forward with my 2021s, so juniors in high school right now, it's going to kind of put me behind because it's going to just make everything that much more chaotic once everything starts up again, because I'll have to be putting in more time to see them as well as 2022s at that point in the fall, because we're missing out on this whole spring season and potentially a whole summer season. So we will be missing out on a lot. It will put us behind, but my team's kind of, been really good about it. We've kind of taken to technology and we do Zoom chats, Zoom conferences regularly every week. My captains, we're working on our leadership training. We're just doing that via Zoom now. So we're still trying to do as much as we can, still trying to be, close and keep that connection and go a little farther beyond to make sure that we're still staying connected and nobody feels isolated even during this time. So it has been challenging, but it's also been a good growing experience, I think, and I think it's just going to make everybody that much more excited to get back together, hopefully in the fall, moving forward.
Yeah, hopefully soon. And yeah, thank God for technology. I honestly, couldn't tell you what, where we would be or what we couldn't do if we didn't have the means of Zoom and some of these other virtual capabilities. So, Melissa, thanks for coming on the show. It's great to talk to you and to learn about your program. And I encourage, anybody who's listening to hopefully come and check out some of your games this coming season. Maybe if you play in Alfred or even make a trip down to Bradford. It's not that far of a drive. Where can we find your information or a schedule, when the fall season begins?
Yeah, so we'll schedule right up online on our website. If you just Google it even, Pitt Bradford Athletics, it'll come right up for you, or Pitt Bradford Women's Soccer, it'll come right up. We have, like I said, we do have some games a little closer to Hornell area than Bradford, but like you said, just about an hour drive, not too far, not too difficult of a drive. So, yeah, thank you so much for having me and taking the time to let me talk about my program a little bit.
Yeah, thanks for coming on, and good luck to you in the coming season. Maybe we'll check in with you. Hopefully things will be back to normal around, the time that your fall season starts up, and we'll check back in with you and see where you're at and how things are going. And we appreciate you coming on.
All right, sounds good. Thanks so much.
Yeah, have a happy Easter weekend, Melissa.
Yeah, you too. Bye.
Okay, thank you. Bye-bye. So we'll be back after the break with the head football coach from Alfred University Saxons, Bob Rankel, when we come back.
This local sports show here on 92.1 The Team is brought to you in part by Rhonda Wilsey. Spring is here. Now's the time to buy or sell your home. When choosing a local real estate agent, choose someone with 2 decades of experience. Rhonda Wilsey has been helping people like you find their new home for over 18 years. Call Rhonda Wilsey at 607-382-4539 or email Rhonda at rhondawilsey@howardhanna.com.
Do you lead an active lifestyle? Are you trying to reach that next level in your fitness or active lifestyle? Stop into Next Level Wellness in Hornell. Next Level Wellness offers CBD options that help promote muscle recovery and regrowth. Their CBD products are the perfect addition to pre- and post-workouts. CBD helps reduce inflammation, allowing you to recover faster from workouts. If you're ready to step up your training or take your game to the next level, then stop into Next Level Wellness or shop online at nxlevelwellness.com. Next Level Wellness, 10 Seneca Street, Hornell, or call 607-385-3188 for more info.
The service department at Maple City Dodge is open. Automotive service work is essential work, and Maple City Dodge is able to assist. They're asking customers to allow them to work with minimal contact, so they'll happily pick up, sanitize, and return your vehicle. The sales department is also available. You can talk to one of their sales guys. They're working from home and making great deals. To set an appointment with service or sales, call Maple City Dodge or reach out to them through Facebook Messenger. Maple City Dodge in Hornell, proud to be serving you.
Welcome back to the Prete Is On 92.1 The Team. Aaron Hornell, and my next guest comes to us on the Empire Access conference line. He's doing his part also in social distancing as we're all on this broadcast remotely. And the next guest, actually, I'm going to read off some accomplishments before I introduce him. He was the D3Football.com All-East Region Coach of the Year in 2016, the Empire 8 Conference Coach of the Year also in 2016. He lives in Hornell with his wife, Tori, their two children, Tyler and Shaylin. He is the head football coach of the Alfred University Saxons. Welcome to the show, Bob Rankel.
How you doing, Dave?
Good, Bob. Thanks for being on the show, and, it's a pleasure to have you. We were just talking before you came on about my younger years when I was in elementary school. I went with your brother to school. You guys ended up moving out of the area. You had lived in the area for a while and then moved out of the area. And now you're back, and you're coaching Alfred University, the football team, and you were the assistant coach up until 2013. And then in 2014, you took over as the head coach. And looking at how your teams have done since you've taken over, you have never been below 500. You had one season where you're at 500, and all the rest have been winning seasons. And then, of course, 2016 was kind of that amazing season you guys had at Alfred University. You went 12-1. You lost in the Elite Eight to Mount
Union.
Mount Union, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
What a season that was, though. This past season, you were 7-4. What's your secret to the success? How are you getting these guys to play this hard for you every single year?
Well, first, I have an outstanding coaching staff, and really fortunate to be working with the guys I'm working, and that makes all the difference in the world. I've been coaching here for a long time. I take a ton of pride in what we're doing at Alfred University, and certainly with the football program there as well. But been there for over 20 years, and there's been a lot of consistency, and there's a great culture within the guys, with the guys that we have there. So we've been fortunate. We've had really good players, and we've had some really good coaches working with them. And football is important at Alfred, and we certainly want to keep it that way.
Now, tell me about the recruiting process, because I know being a Division III school, you do have a lot of competition, especially in the area with programs like St. John Fisher, University of Rochester, not to mention some others here, that are within the region or locally. Is there a secret to success for how you recruit? Is there certain things you look for? Obviously, you want your players to also be good students. But what sets Alfred University football program apart from the other programs, or what can you sell them on to come and play at AU versus, somewhere else?
Well, the first thing that we try to recruit, obviously, you got to find guys that have talent, but it goes way beyond that. And after we find out they have talent, the next step for us is we want to make sure they're young men of character. We want to have individuals in our football program that we're proud to associate ourselves with, and they got to be serious about getting a college education. And for us, we recruit all over the state of New York, but we've also prided ourselves a lot on small town guys and local guys. We've had some great local players here, from Hornell, obviously Brendan Bish was an outstanding football player for us. Austin Dwyer graduated just a few years back. We have a young man coming from Hornell this year, Tyler Acton, who we're very excited about. But also a lot of the other small towns from Wayland, Cohocton, Connor Englert, and Easy McClure are both with us right now. And from Wellsville, we had Mike Berardi graduate a couple of years ago. So you got to win your backyard first and foremost. We look for talent, but we want character as well, guys that are football guys that are willing to outwork their opponents. We pride ourselves on being the hardest working team in the country, and we believe that. We're a blue-collar, physical football team.
Now, I know you have a large roster, and when I went to Elfrid University and played a season there, it was a very large roster when I was part of the program as well. What do you tell those kids who maybe they're freshmen or they're the players who aren't going to see the field maybe as much as as your starters or some of your your more elite players? How do you encourage them to stay engaged in the program, and what do you say to them when you know that they're probably not going to see the field all that much?
Well, we play a 10-game varsity schedule, and we play a 7-game junior varsity schedule. So our guys, if they're not in varsity, they're going to get a chance to play JV in their first year. I tell the guys, really up front in the recruiting process right now, I tell guys, if you can't imagine yourself coming into a college football program and having to be a scout team player and play on junior varsity, for a year or two, if that's just, if that's a terrible thought process for you, then you shouldn't be coming into this football program, because we want guys. We're not concerned about where they are in their freshman year. We're not concerned about where they are as sophomores. We're concerned about what kind of football players they are in their junior and senior year.
So I asked the other guests, actually our first guest on the show is Dr. Ismail Mayer from Hornell. And then we've had Paul Walker, of course, from Alfred State and the Hornell Dodgers, and then our last guest was Melissa Graham from Pitt Bradford women's soccer program. And I asked them all the question, how has the coronavirus impacted their programs or impacted sports? So I'm going to ask you that question as well. How has it or has it at all impacted the football program to this point? And if so, what adjustments do you have to make?
Yeah, I mean, it's had a tremendous impact. It's been terrible. This time of year, this is our spring football. We're at 15 practices in the spring. Our guys are doing all their strength and conditioning. So we'd be in the middle of our spring practice right now, and we have meetings with the guys before practices. So this is really, not good for college football. Now, everybody's up against it, so it is what it is. But, we've been constantly, we had position meetings earlier today. We're doing position meetings 3 days a week with our guys. And I heard Melissa on before, we're using Zoom as well, and you can share a screen. And we're watching, we're still installing our offense and our defense and our special teams just like we would, as if we were in spring practice. And guys got to stay with it mentally, and guys got to be disciplined enough to be able to condition on their own and everything. And the guys that we recruit, the guys that we want our football program, they're pretty self-driven as it is. So we expect our guys to be keeping up with all their stuff. Obviously, it's hard to get to a weight room right now, but you can get to the field, you can do drill work, you can run, you can do push-ups. So you got to do everything you can this time to, for our players have to do everything they can to stay in best shape as possible.
So, unfortunately, we only have about 2 minutes left in the show, and this is Bob Rankel, head football coach for Alfred University Saxons. But in 30 seconds or less, Bob, tell us what we can expect from the Saxon football team this coming season. What is your prediction? Who do we look for, and how are you guys going to do?
Well, we expect to win every time we step on the field. We expect to be great every time we step on the field. We got a good group of guys coming back, and the only prediction I can tell you is that I can predict that we're going to put out a physical, tough football team that's going to compete in every single game that we go into this year. We're led by our starting strong safety, Raekwon Greer, who was a D3 football All-American last year. And we got a good group of guys returning on defense, a couple new faces on offense. But, we're excited about where we are. And we expect at Alfred, we expect to win every time we step out on the field. So taking it 1 week at a time from that respect.
So, Bob, I wish I had more time. I do want to bring you back on the show as it gets closer to the season and get an update on the Alfred University football program. Thank you for coming on tonight. I appreciate your time, and good luck to you this coming season. And by all means, don't be a stranger. Anytime you want to come in and talk Saxon football, we'd love to have you on.
Sounds great, Dave. Appreciate that. Go Saxons.
Go Saxons. Have yourself, you and your family, a happy Easter weekend. That wraps up the show for this week. We will be back next Saturday morning, same time, 9 a.m. here on 92.1 The Team. This has been Dave Prete, your host on the Prete Is On. And I want to say, before we leave, thank you to all the first responders, all the medical professionals, and all the essential workers who are keeping us safe and healthy in this very, very critical time. Have a happy Easter weekend, everyone. I'm out.